Stone,
Yes.
how are you, my man?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm alright.
Great
What
stuff.
about you?
Welcome back on a
Yeah.
Monday evening.
Yes, man. It's a new week. New things that are happening. Market chasing as well as usual. New things are happening. Empire Crypto TV, and good evening to the listeners in Africa and around the world. Yeah.
What's happening? How's the war, man? Is the war coming to SA or is it to remain in Russia and Ukraine?
Most definitely, the war is not gonna come to SA, man. We are just a small country in the tip of Southern Africa, but there is wars in the southern tip of Europe, Ukraine, and there are many threats. But the sanctions has been like a sort of a solution to try and evade and try to sort of like soften the Russian or Kremlin's war towards Ukraine. They have imposed a system of sanctions. That's what has been happening so far in terms of that kind of war. So the type of war that they've put against Russia is sanctions.
All right, welcome back. We are live here at Empire Crypto TV. We are live. We are back again in a new week. It's a new week, and we're looking to enter March already. 2 months gone down the line. We were on the second month in 2022. So yes, we're still trading. Crypto is still here. We're still making money. In fact, a lot of money, and we are looking to make a lot of money going forward. There's so many fundamental sentiments that are actually happening around the globe that
Mm.
indications that money has to be made. So welcome back, everyone. As usual, guys, please do say something on the comment section. Do mention your country, your city, wherever you're watching this live broadcast from. Let's engage. If you've got some questions, do ask on the comment section. And of course, guys, invite your friends. Yeah, share this live broadcast. Invite everyone in your circle, your friends, your neighbors, everyone, guys. Bring them on the show. Those people who do not believe in the crypto market, those people who still say crypto is a one-time thing, bring them here. Let's show them that this is a market. This is the future. This is where we live. This is where we are making money, a lot of money for that matter. So yeah, let us be your agents. Let us be your spokesperson.
Yeah.
Just bring them on the show. And of course, guys, do not forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Go onto our YouTube, find Empire Crypto TV and subscribe. We are constantly giving away some coins, some cryptos. So if you are subscribed, you stand a chance to earn some cryptos, guys. Do not miss such an opportunity. All right, Stone. I see, man. The market is alive now. The market is back. I see the market is green. What
Mm.
could be the trigger of this market to be green amid the situation that is happening across the world? But the market is happy, which is something opposite of what we saw a week ago when the war started. The market took a nosedive going down, but now the
Yeah.
market is back, looking starting from the
Mm.
market cap where it's we see it's 1.8 trillion US dollars.
Mm.
The market is starting to breathe.
Mm.
What's your take on that?
Of course, the nations, Australia, USA, and most NATO nations that are against the idea of Ukraine being attacked have taken action. And as I said before, to put sanction against Russia. And something happened when a cargo ship was intercepted by an English navy in the English channels. It was a Russian a ship that was intercepted. And there was also another soccer match that I think it was a UEFA Champions League or something. There was a team or a Russian team that was supposed to play with an English team during the weekend. That team did not want to play with that team because of imposed sanctions. These are some of the things that have been imposed against Russia. And since this is a lot of ups and down happening in Europe, the most of electronic transactions within the banking systems have been disrupted, having to put sanctions on a large nation because Russia is the third largest oil provider, and they are a huge country in many other digital aspects. And now, most of the European Union or European citizenship has hedged, if not has decided, maybe to use a form of cryptocurrencies as a way to do transactions, because last week also Tether, when one of the banks or electronic payments was suspended in Ukraine, the Tether was an alternative for people to use. So cryptocurrencies are looking to be in a good space, unlike stocks and bonds and of course, the local currency of Russia itself, the ruble, has taken a knock, most of the global assets and so forth. So the digital currency, cryptocurrency, which is the fastest growing currency, uh, no, the fastest growing industry and currency as well, has gotten the attention in a sense that it has a blockchain and it is quicker to do transaction, and with that comes benefits for it to take an advantage. Same thing that happened during the lockdown, because most of the time when you hear that there's a sort of disaster happening, disastrous or a hardship that is happening as of late, concerning a multitude of people around the world, the cryptocurrencies have been thriving ever since. So they took a knock, cryptocurrencies took a knock last week, but it was just a knock to come back. Looking at it right now, it's trading at 40 almost $41,000 per coin. It was a quick move in the last, I think, last 3 hours or so, because it was still at that $39,000 mark, you know.
Christoph, I did mention last week. I said, if the world war sets up, banks will be interrupted. Traditional financial system could be disturbed. Markets becomes bloodbath. The crypto can be the solution. It provides fast transactions and decentralized from the government. Countries will stock up crypto in bulk. Russia has been hit hard by financial sanctions. Banks are frozen. The only way to use crypto, the only way is to use crypto. It's a fast, and of course, um, look, it's a fact that they prepared for this years and months ago.
Yeah,
We can't ignore the fact that Russia knew about this war way before, some times
yeah,
ago. They stock up, they've got some reserves, they've got some money. Even
mm,
if they've got these sanctions, they already knew what they were going to use. They already had the
mm,
plan B. So, and of course, in this point in time, like I just mentioned here on my Facebook post, that there will be some more activities happening around the cryptocurrency market. It boosted the market now because there's so much demand from people. Even donations, we see donations are coming in the form of cryptos. Russia, Ukraine is set up some donation destinations whereby people can send their cryptos to different wallets for
mm,
to help and assist those who are destitute in that country. So yeah,
mm,
crypto is much involved,
yeah,
more than even the banks at this point in time. This shows how important. This shows how good crypto can be. How crypto can actually play a pivotal role in the ecosystem, in the communities, in this space, in the whole world.
Yeah, of course. In terms of disaster wise, crypto has been prevailing in subjugating transactions to peer to peer networks. Um, and not only just cryptocurrencies, also various assets that are backed using cryptocurrency or crypto technology as a form of transaction, like the blockchain. So, an advanced way of doing things faster and more adequate and more convenient is what is needed, because to have a middleman like the banks and having to send money that will take maybe probably days for it to arrive to another point is not a solution for now. Now is something cryptocurrency provides a much faster solution and a much more convenient solution in that respect.
Christopher, I see. There we go. We've got Non-Tom Yeza watching all the way from Matsegane. Christopher, welcome to Empire Crypto TV. We are glad you are here today. Please do not forget to invite your friends. Please call everyone on the street. Come to the house. The war has just started. The war has just started. We are teaching here. We are educating the nation. So yes, we do not want anybody to be left out of this amazing journey that we're
Mm.
having. Of course, we have got Lonwabo here. He says, "Save the bully, USA." Right, good move by Putin and Kamban. All right, seems like Lonwabo has got more support for Putin, and is not really moved by the USA. He's not in favor of the USA, the West, and the powerhouses. So yeah, look, we've got a scenario whereby there are two types. There are two opposing sides. Yes, Tony. There are people who are
Yeah.
saying Russia is a good move. What they did is a good move. But there are some who are feeling pity for the Ukraine and saying, Ukraine, what's happening in Ukraine? Why the world is doing this to Ukraine? But there are people who have got who understand history. Must I say they understand history, or must I say they've got a deep fundamental understanding of what's happening across the world and the history itself, that they are reasoning or talking on the grounds of, the truth, not just on the emotional side, whereby they say, what Putin is doing is right. Ukraine mustn't be, a scapegoat for the West. Ukraine is captured, is being captured, is about to be captured. That's what Putin is wants to prevent, wants to stop from happening. So, what would you say between these two sides of people who say Russia, some are saying Ukraine?
Yeah, like me, I wouldn't like really take a side or any sides for that matter, because the reality is people are suffering in Ukraine. As we saw or shared images last week Friday, that there are kids and the airports are like getting congested, and it's not comfortable for the citizenship of Ukraine, and it's not stabilizing the market in any way, because the market is going back and forth with uncertainty. So the situation overall for me, I would just be against the idea that Putin has attacked Ukraine. I feel like there should have been more negotiations and more civilized way of dealing with this matter before people get involved and starting getting being bombed and moving out of their homes and causing all of this panic for people to suffer in an already suffering country because of COVID-19 and other economical things that are happening. People are crying, people are not happy. And me being a person, I wouldn't feel good if like I had another country attack my own country just because they feel like, we are we are owning you, or like it's sort of like Ukraine. They're a small kid. They are just like bullying it and just telling it because Ukraine is its own country. Whether they want to join NATO or not, that's basically up to them as a nation. Putin shouldn't even have to concern himself about the decisions makings that are made in Ukraine, because he's not the president of Ukraine. He is a president of Russia, and he should be looking out for the interests of Russia, because even people within Russia are against the idea of him attacking. Protesters in Russia today are getting arrested for protesting against Putin, and so there's no freedom of speech. That's another thing that has been cut off. So this situation is generally senseless. Maybe it makes sense to Vladimir Putin in his own mind, because he has uh, maybe other reasons that are deeper than what we are discussing here today on media or everywhere in the world that fit his reasoning. So for me, I'm not gonna take the side of Ukraine being attacked, but negotiations could have been made. Yeah.
All right, we've got Swazi there. Swazi all the way watching from Joburg. Welcome back. Welcome back, Swazi. Do not forget to invite your friends. And we are here. If you've got some questions, guys, if you want to understand something along the topic or in the crypto space in general, you can always make use of the comment section and let's discuss. All right, Stone. Look, let's discuss sanctions that have been
Mm,
imposed on Russia.
mm,
What, to what extent do they, hurt Russia, and what could be the solution? Are those sanctions have a timeline, a deadline to say if you do this, if you retreat, or if you stop attacking, we're gonna remove the sanctions, or those sanctions will hurt them forever? They are imposed, they won't be removed. To what extent are those sanctions will still be there?
to the extent that Russia removes its air forces away from Ukraine, to the extent that Russia stops attacking Ukraine, to the extent that Russia and its troops move out of Ukraine, then those sanctions will be lifted up, of course, because sanctions themselves are causing an economic strife, because Russia in the entire Europe, they are the biggest oil providers and number three in the world. Countries like Germany rely on those energy supply from Russia. So the sooner Russia makes a decision to move away from Ukraine, the better. That's as far as it can go. Is it a solution? At the same time, it's yes and no. It's a solution at the same time, because Russia can also respond by taking the side of having natural gas. And as we see on the market, the oil has soured, or has the oil prices have risen. And when oil prices rises, of course, can make transportation expensive, food prices go up. But this also is affecting the European countries in a bad way. So sanctions in total, they are not a good thing. But up until Vladimir Putin takes away his decision on attacking Ukraine, or the troops move away from Ukraine.
All right, we're talking about Russian situation, and there are so much sanctions that have been imposed on Russia at the present moment, and of course, those are not good things to hear, because as they impose those sanctions to the leaders, and the whole country can feel them. But some of the sanctions are not only for the leaders. Of course, there are selected sanctions that are imposed to a certain group of people, which is the leaders of Russia. But there are some sanctions that also can affect the whole country, can affect the whole people who are in the Russian territory, So it's not only leaders that are going to feel the wrath of the West, which is the the USA and the other powerhouses, but the whole country is going to feel the pain. So,
Yeah.
which is not a good thing. Um, to, like I've just asked, to what extent those sanctions are going to be, enforced.
Mm,
Yeah, and we see it, Stony, that Binance, also the crypto exchange, is
mm,
also talking about imposing sanctions on Russia.
mm.
Don't you think the Binance is a bit out of line? I mean, we are in the crypto space. Why do they want to get involved as a traditional market, as like the traditional mainstream? Whereby we are trying to run from the traditional markets to crypto. Now the crypto, now they're starting to take the tendency of the traditional markets.
Of course, crypto is becoming slowly and becoming slowly a traditional market now. Crypto is no longer like a market where you just look at it and say, okay, well, it will grow, or, but now it has impact. CZ is a well-known CEO of Binance, is a billionaire, and him taking these actions is sort of like a reputational action, so that people, when they look upon people like CZ, they would say, okay, when they stood at the right side of history. They did not just stand by and say, okay, well, we're gonna just let things go because we are on the side of crypto. They realize that there are also people, and they are also affected by war or global wars, and the market as well. So them standing on the right side of history, it also gives them an advantage to other global leaders to look upon cryptocurrencies on with a positive eye. It's not about trying to get gains and getting involved or not getting involved. They will be involved because they are the biggest crypto exchange in the world, and it's regulated worldwide. So, in a sense, they are also going to get a favor because the whole world is against this whole thing of war. So, being Binance and taking action and say, okay, and plus Binance, they are not sanctioning Russia as a whole. They are sanctioning people that they can sanction, like top government leaders that might be using Binance, but not the general public for transaction and all. They are trying to track down individuals or like institutions that might be affiliated with the Kremlin, you see, and them using Binance will freeze them. That's a type of sanction. That's it. But for ordinary folks who have Binance account and all that stuff, retail traders, they are not gonna be sanctioned. If that if I'm making myself clear, it is the big institutions and the people that they can is sanctioned, like Vladimir Putin himself. Let's say, for example, if he was using Binance as a trading account, for example, he would have been closed down with someone else who's also linked to the Kremlin account, to the Kremlin. Their accounts will be, sanctioned upon. That's the type of sanction that Binance is referring, because I also followed the story with the CZ getting involved. Not only just Binance, another crypto exchange that is based in Ukraine has also imposed sanctions.
All right, welcome to Empire Crypto TV. We are live. We are talking about the Russia-Ukraine situation, the sanctions that are being imposed. Do not forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, guys. And we are live again tomorrow at 7 p.m. So yeah, do tune in tomorrow 7 p.m. And then let's continue learning. In the meantime, good night and enjoy your sleep, guys. The market is still there. We see the market is being green. It's happening, guys. Do not think the market will fall away at this point in time. We're still gonna be here. And at this point in time, there is much use of Bitcoin, cryptos, people are transacting through the digital currencies. They are
Mm.
instrumental in this situation. So
Yeah.
yes, we're still gonna be alive. And
Okay, just before you close.
okay.
Okay, please don't just close as of yet. I just wanted to also look into the market. I haven't even looked into the market just in to analyze the Bitcoin market because cryptocurrency is at $40,000 per coin right now. Just before I just go into the market, I want to do some a few analysis, fundamental and technical as well. And then we can, say goodbye to the show. Is that fine with you?
All right. Yeah, we can go ahead.
Okay, let us just it's just a small 2 minute video that regards to
The
sanctions.
US, EU, and UK cutting off some Russian banks from the SWIFT messaging system. Steve Leisman is back with a look at why this matters so much to the global markets. Hey, Steve.
Yeah, hey, Joe. And inside Russia, where historic financial sanctions imposed on Russia already having a bit of a devastating effect inside Russia with the ruble crashing to now it's just over 1 cent, a slight strengthening to the dollar, and the Russian central bank forced to raise domestic interest rates to 20% from 9.5%. The sanctions include, as Joe said, removing select Russian banks from the SWIFT financial messaging system and freezing Russia's $630 billion in foreign exchange reserves, prompting lines at banks to withdraw rubles. Also threatens runaway inflation and a severe recession inside Russia. The Russian stock market ordered closed today. The most painful of these sanctions for Russia looks to be the freezing of the $630 billion, what's called Fortress Russia foreign reserves. A G20 central bank has never had its assets frozen, raising questions of how well Russia previously prepared for this and systemic global risk outside of the country. Banking experts and central bank experts I spoke with said there's only limited Western bank exposure to Russia and ample short-term dollar funding and well-capitalized banks. But the sanctions and the war will mean higher commodity prices and inflation, a bigger hit in Europe than in the U.S. Of course, there's concern about possible counter-sanctions. The Russian central bank has already ordered Russians not to buy Russian assets from foreigners. That's a form of nationalization of those assets. And no one can be sure how this will all play out, where the U.S. already has high inflation. Futures markets continue to predict Federal Reserve rate hikes, but the prospect of a 50 basis point rate hike in March has plunged now to just 11%. Fed officials declined to comment when asked if they would be making any statements or providing any special liquidity provisions, though they are most certainly watching the situation warily for potential impacts beyond Russian and Ukrainian borders. Joe?
Well, we've been talking about it all morning.
Of course, those are some of the analysis that we've been seeing all across the financial news, and the sanctions are the answers to try and slow down this chaos that is happening in Ukraine. But let us just look into the market as well and look at the analysis of the markets, looking at the Bitcoin and trying to understand, because it has been going strong in the last few hours, and it's been looking very, very healthy. And looking at my support at $37,000 and my resistance up there at $39,000. I did mention last week that if I see a breakthrough out of the $39,000 towards the $40,000 mark, I would be expecting the markets to be going up. But what is the cause of this trend that is forming currently right now is the sanctions that has been imposed on Russia, and it has also affected the banking institution, and making it harder for people to make transaction. And the alternative way to make all of these transactions are through the cryptocurrency space, because also last week we've heard that the tether has been also been a great use for the Ukraine people who are moving out of their homes, and they are making transaction using the tether, which is a cryptocurrency backed. So regarding the entire landscape of cryptocurrency, it looks like things could be in favor. But on the other side, the Wall Street are taking a hit, although there are news that are coming out that other stocks or other global assets are not as positive as the cryptocurrency. Now we can see now the separation between cryptocurrencies and the traditional markets at this point. The same thing that we have seen also back in in 2019 to 2020 during the pandemic. Wall Street opens lower as Russia rails against sanctions, though though down 400 points. You see, now instead of, there was a time when cryptocurrencies were moving all together with the other financial markets, but at this point, since now we're going deeper into the war, there's been a separation between those markets and the cryptocurrency market. U.S. stock markets opened lower on Monday as drastic new sanctions enacted by the West on Russia over the weekend drew a furious response and further threats of escalation from Kremlin. So now most of the traditional markets are still using their domestic currencies, and them using the fiat currencies has also led them to have a lot of struggles, because all these fiat currencies depend on the middle partner or on the banks themselves. And going further, looking at the story, we can read further. By 9:40 a.m., the Dow Jones was down 392 points. Wow, that's a lot. But now we are looking at cryptocurrencies. It has been rising. I just want to go to the charts as well, looking at different stocks, Google stocks. Google stocks are also taking a hit, as you can see right there. The gold market as well has been thriving, but let's see how much has been thriving since we're going through the war, but also the gold is taking a hit. The one market that has been developing and that has been gaining favor is the cryptocurrency space at this point in time. The gold last week was looking to go to $2,000 per ounce, but now it has dropped to 1.8 than I was hoping. But let us look at the dollar against the euro, which has lacked volatility, and there was a bearish jump, or a bearish gap. So when it opened at a very, very low rate. Europe being the continent that serves, or that serves the Russia, which is within Europe, and Russia, to my knowledge, is Russia produces 11 million 262,774 barrels per day of oil as of 2016, ranking the third in the world. Russia produces every year an amount equivalent to 5.1% of its total proven reserves as of 2016. So Russia is a very, very powerful country in the sense, even though they pose sanctions against the Russians, it is still a country that has enough power to control things, because of them being the third in the world in producing oil, also other minerals as well. Sanctions, to my understanding, is a threatened penalty for disobeying a law or rule. So Russia has disobeyed law or rules, and this has led to them having, and also oil prices have risen up, because now Russia has the oil, or the third largest provider of oil. Oil sours above $100 again, as more sanctions on Russia spur energy crisis fears. Goes on to say oil futures in London jumped more than 7% before giving up some gains to trade near 103 a barrel. So oil prices are going up, and oil prices, when they are going up, initially it means that food prices are going to go up, transport prices are going to go up. Life is going to be a bit harder for people who are living in Europe. So most of the people are also hedging their money or their investment in such assets like the cryptocurrency assets at this point in time, as the market continues going through a tumbling time, especially in Europe as well. And also the stocks, looking at other sources as well, like what they are saying about the stocks. Okay, looking at the stocks, as well as stocks tumble as West intensifies sanctions on Russia. Another article that just gives us a clear understanding that the world stocks themselves are taking a knock. This afternoon, I just saw a triumphant Bitcoin coming to $40,000 per coin, but it's looking to going to $41,000 per coin. Concerns are growing that a decision to freeze the Russian central bank's assets exclude some of the nation's biggest lenders from critical international payment system may increase stress in global funding markets. So this is a very, very difficult situation. There are people who have immense power in Russia, and there are some clients that are dependent on the banking system themselves. But looking at exchanges, as we mentioned before, Binance having to also get involved and having sanctions on Russia. CZ has Binance starts work with complying the sanctions on Russia imposed by Western government. So they are not going to sanction everyone, but anyone who's connected directly to the Kremlin or to the threat of war, they are the ones that are going to be sanctioned by Binance. That they are able to do that because with their computer programming skills that they hold, they can be able to analyze and exclude and sanction individuals that need to be sanctioned, not ordinary folks as one would think. Binance is working to comply with the sanctions on Russia, which have been imposed by Western governments following the invasion of Ukraine. Additionally, Binance announced that they are donating $10 million to the Ukraine humanitarian effort and will launch a crypto-first crowdfunding site to further help provide aid to Ukraine. So Binance at this point in time, they want to stand at the right side of history because these are turbulent times, and they are also using funding and sponsoring people who are within the Ukraine region in terms of bad crisis to try and deal with these crises. So I think this is a great move by Binance, though they are a cryptocurrency market company. They are putting themselves out there and showing that cryptocurrency has solutions of moving money from A to B without having to be involved in the war. So they are having an input on this situation, but in a positive way, so that when this is done, hopefully when this is done, say presidents and other leaders and other global leaders will look on cryptocurrency exchanges and cryptocurrencies as to say, you know what, these current cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency exchanges were standing on the right side of history, helping out and having a positive impact as well. I think CZ and the guys at Binance are doing a good job. Looking at here at home as well, there are also views of people about the sanctions in Russia. They have their own different types of views, and here in South Africa, some famous people will sanctions backfire should SA focus on home. So this is just, South African one, Duduzile Zuma and my man on Russia-Ukraine conflict. So it has taken the world by storm. So some people think that they should focus on things here at home, which is something that I agree on. Former President Jacob Zuma's daughter, Duduzile Zuma, Sumandla weighed on the Russia-Ukraine conflict again, predicting sanction imposed on Russia will not last long. Okay. Why? Maybe I don't know. Maybe she predicts that maybe the war will be over. The EU, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Taiwan, and US and the UK have imposed measures against Russia as leaders condemned the actions of President Vladimir Putin. The SA Department of International Relations and Cooperation call for mediation and peaceful resolution to the conflict. So these are some of the views that people have on the Ukraine war. And then, of course, there are other news that came out as well regarding Ukraine. I think it's more on the idea that Binance, Ukraine, now there's a exchange based in Ukraine. These are the news that were passed out. Ukraine asks exchanges to freeze Russian Belarusian crypto accounts. Ukraine-born company answers the call. US-based Kraken FX explains why it won't. Binance also says it won't freeze the accounts. So they won't freeze accounts, but they will have a way of making it harder, or trying to take out certain individuals, and them they should be treated differently or being sanctioned. Okay, Ukraine's Prime Minister and Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Mikhailo Fedorov, has asked all major crypto exchanges to block addresses of Russian users. But this decision will be obviously be technical, depending on the crypto exchange's way of dealing with business. I don't think it will be just be a drastic thing to do and just have people just froze their accounts. It could be also be bad for business, because if now we're going to now freeze everything because of Russia, freeze this, freeze the stock, freeze bank accounts, freeze that, freeze them on the seas, freeze them on the ocean, everything else will practically start freezing everywhere. And once that happens, it won't be good for business. I myself would think that, freezing accounts on the crypto exchange is not good, but they should only focus on particular individuals that are involved with the Kremlin, that are possibly trying to, or who are in support of this war, should be sanctioned upon. But ordinary folks, they need cryptocurrencies to move funds from A to B. Okay, other stories that have been involved are also looking at the ruble, which is the native currency of Russia against the dollar. Looking at the daily chart, it has taken a great hit. I just want the data to reveal itself right there. As you can see, right there, the ruble has been like having like a steady line for some time, until they invaded here 28th February, until the sanctions came into place. So the sanctions, so to speak, have a tremendous impact on Russia, no matter what, because looking at it right now, the ruble has just dropped far, and it has stayed on this level, and against the US dollar. And that, well, I think it dropped like 30% low. But Vladimir Putin is not shaken by these things. Looking at the on other news as well, on local news as well, regarding cryptocurrencies. It does not talk about the war, just moving here. Developments in UK crypto space could provide clues into SA's crypto regulations plans. Okay, the regulations of cryptocurrencies is something that has been spoken much about. Also, the United States last week, Monday, has announced that they will be sending out people all across the United States regarding the regulation of cryptocurrencies. And that is also something that can send a positive wave, because once cryptocurrencies are finally being regulated, which means they are being acknowledged, and when they are acknowledged, people can feel more safe to invest in cryptocurrencies, and also try to learn more about cryptocurrencies. And it will show that cryptocurrencies are not a scam once they see governments are regulating them and giving them some sort of a positive laws that can make people not so skeptic about cryptocurrencies. That can be good for investment, especially in this day and age where we have digital transformations. Okay, whichever way the FSCA goes with the crypto regulation, there will almost certainly be more requirements to meet for crypto asset providers. Of course, this is South Africa, but in the United States, it has already started last week on Monday. South Africa's financial services industry currently awaits the release of cryptocurrency guidelines and regulations from the Financial Service Conductor Authority. The UK authorities, meanwhile, a little further down the line to regulate crypto assets, have announced intentions to widen the scope of the financial promotions regime in so far as it applies to crypto assets, including the Financial Conduct Authority publishing a consultation paper to enhance the rules of promoting high-risk investments. Could these developments be an indication of what the FSCA may determine for the local crypto asset space? So that remains to be seen. And the crypto regulation story is something that I'm still want to follow in a long time. And going forward, we're going to start seeing developments around the CBDCs and local and stable coins, asset-backed cryptocurrencies are gonna start developing, and the market will widen. Okay, as the article says, and it will widen in a positive way, because now the technology underlying cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is going to be finally be used for more impactful investments that we hope to see in the coming time, especially in 2022, looking at this year as an opportunity after, we had a year where people lost jobs. We had a year where people were sick. We had a year where companies were closed. These opportunities, like, you have non-fungible tokens that are developing. The crypto space has developed. Not only did we see the rise of Bitcoin, but we also saw other levels of technologies rising, like the Web3, blockchain being recognized as an underlying technology that has furthermore purposes with regards to technology, other than just cryptocurrency or the movement of value. And this year could pose grand opportunities for investors in the cryptocurrency space. Okay, to finalize this analysis, this is my support at $37,000, like I said, and it has broken through the $39,000 per coin, and now it is sitting at its 40s. Let us hope that it just keeps on pushing higher and higher, because it looks like people are eyeing on cryptocurrencies as a resolution and solution to move money, because most of the banks in Europe are being sanctioned, and there's a lot of strife. And when there's a lot of strife, I do understand why people would turn to cryptocurrencies, because it is faster and much more convenient. And like to say thank you very much for watching the show on Empire Crypto TV. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place. So good night if you're in South Africa or in Africa, and everywhere else in the world. I shall see you in the next 24 hours or so. So good night, and thank you very much for watching and for being with me tonight. Thank you.